If you watch closely, as I scroll, you're going to see the clouds move from left to right. You're going to see the sailboat move from right to left. You're going to see this wood table move in relation to the background. And you're going to see the title follow us down. The following title is not as exciting, but the rest is. You do need Elementor Pro for this. There is a link to it in the description down below if you want to check it out. And in this video, I'm going to show you how I made this. And the original images don't look quite like the ones you see here. For example, look at this table down here. This is that table right there. And then over here, we have the ocean and the clouds. We didn't take the top part of these clouds. I cropped the image, but we took these wispy clouds down here and I cropped out the land there, and we used the ocean water for the ocean component. And then the sailboat is actually this sailboat right here that we cropped out. And I'm going to show you how I crop these images out and how I set it all up. The most important thing you can do is get your images just right. And the reason it's blurry is A, it's far in the background, so being blurry is okay. And you can get away with having some inaccuracies in your images if you just blur them a little bit. I'm going to show you what I mean with all that and how to do all this in this video, so let's get into it. I have our image files right here, labeled as OG, so this is the OG sailboat, the OG ocean and sky, and the OG wooden table. We're going to edit these. I'm going to edit them in Affinity Photo. This is a one-time payment photo app. You could also use GIMP to do this, and then maybe there's some online ones as well. But I prefer Affinity because it's one-time payment. But every time they release a new version, like version 2.0, I think they charge for those. But still, it's pretty affordable. Let's get the sky and the ocean first. So I'm just going to crop this really simply right down to there, past that land mass on the left there. And hit enter. And then I'm going to save it. So we can see preview the image here. We can see the file size down here, 9 megabytes. That's way too big. We can't work with that on a website. We're going to stick with JPEGs. Those are usually smaller than PNGs, and PNGs I only really use for transparencies in most cases. To reduce the file size, I'll reduce the quality down to maybe 76. Because we're blurring the image quality doesn't matter so much because it's going to be blurred anyway. I'm going to reduce the size as well. Well, actually, first of all, we're down to 1.48 megabytes. Reduce the width to 3000 pixels and adjust the height accordingly as long as the connection there is made, the chain there. Most photo apps have that. Now it's 300 kilobytes, still pretty big, but better than it was. Then click on export and you can save that to your hard drive. I have it saved already as Ocean Edit right here. And then cancel this. Command Z or Control Z to undo to get the whole sky back, and then we do it again. Today's video is brought to you by Breakdance, the modern visual website builder for WordPress. It's easy for beginners to learn and powerful enough for the most advanced professionals. Breakdance is loaded with features, including a premium pre-made template library, a robust form builder, AI content writing capabilities, a versatile pop-up builder, and seamless WooCommerce integration. Whether you're just starting your WordPress journey, or you're a seasoned pro looking for a better builder for your agency, now is the perfect time to build better websites with Breakdance. Try it today and experience the Breakdance difference. Only this time, we're going to crop just above that landmass on the left. And we'll come down somewhere around here to get the sky. Save this, do the same kind of thing. It's already at 76 quality. Put the width down to 3000. This is only 68.7 kilobytes, so much smaller than the C, but still a bit larger than you want. Having an image optimizer on your site like ShortPixel or EWWW can help you as well compress these images. I'll link to tutorials for both of those in the description down below so you can check them out if you want to. And you just have them on your site. You set them up once, you forget about them, and they keep optimizing new images as you upload them. So that's fantastic. So we have, I'm not going to export it in this case because I already have it here as Edit Sky. There it is. And next up, we're going to do the table. This one's a little bit harder. I'm going to crop it down to right there. But we want to get rid of all this non-table stuff that we have up here. And you can crop it down as far as you can. I like to keep a little bit on top because we're going to use the wand tool. A lot of editing programs have this. It's also called a magic wand. You can see when I click the wand and click on the image, it selects an area. And the selection it makes depends on some settings. Up here we have a tolerance of 2% and set to contiguous. So if contiguous is unchecked, whatever pixel you click on, it's going to select other pixels that are within 2% identical of that pixel, no matter where they are. So we can see we now have selections over here in the wood, which we don't want. And contiguous makes it so they all have to be connected. So if we click, we see we get selections that are all connected at that 2% tolerance. If I put the tolerance up to 10%, it's going to select more than we want. Selecting the wood again. So adjust the tolerance as you need to get the right selection. You can also have, or click on the plus or the add component here, and then you can keep on clicking. It keeps adding to your selection. You want to select everything that's not the wood. And here we can see we got some wood. Let's zoom in here. Right over here, the wood is within 2% of the color of the ocean that we're selecting there, over here too. So you can try taking this down to 1%. Then you could click on the minus or subtract, and then click on the wood, and hopefully it subtracts just the wooden area. Another thing you can do, if you don't want to mess with that, is click on your background, click on the mask button, then it creates a mask, which you can then color on with white or black. So if we have, or if we get the pen tool, we currently have black selected up in the top right, and we start coloring, it deletes anything that is black. So this might look like I'm erasing it, but I'm actually not. It's on the mask. So I can turn this back to white and color over the things that I just colored with black, and it brings them back. And so what you can do, go back to the black. If you have a steady hand, you can just color the black, or in this case, it looks like an eraser, everywhere where you have to do that, instead of using the magic wand tool. And you can also undo if you make a mistake, like if you go like, oh, mistake, undo. But if you've now drawn the entire line in one go, it's going to undo everything. So usually when I have a good section like this, I'll unclick the mouse and then carry on, so I have less to undo if I have to undo in the future. That little bump there is no good. I don't like that. This is the most painstaking part of doing this kind of tutorial and this kind of setup on your website, because you got to get the images just right. And we are blurring the background of the image, but we're not blurring the wood. So you got to get just right. And that's how you do it. You color over in the mask all the parts out of the ocean. And then once you're done, you save it as a PNG, which will make it transparent in the background. I'll give it the same 3000 pixel width. This is 3 megabytes in size. There's not much we can do about it. That's just how it is. We want to have the high quality PNG, so that's what it is. And I have that file done already right here. Edit tabletop. So you can see it's not super clean, the cuts I made. But you know what? When you look on the finished website, can you tell? I can tell now that I'm looking at it. But could you really tell before when you're watching the intro of this video? I don't think you could. Maybe you could, but I don't think you could. But now that you know it's there, you can tell. So that's how you take out the table in the background. And the boat is similar. We're going to crop it to be close to the boat. And then we're going to use combinations of the magic wand tool. Let's add, so we can keep adding things to it. And then once we have a nice selection that we're happy with, we can either do the mask. The mask is the safest, but you can also just press delete on your keyboard and just erases all that, but you can't get it back after that. So I prefer to make a selection, click on mask, and now it's done the inverse. So I'm going to go to select invert pixel selection, then click on mask, and then it takes out just that part that we don't want. And then you can also, let's put this up to 10% for the tolerance, make larger selections in areas. And then you can get the brush tool on black. I can mask all the areas inside the selection, but I can't mask in here because that's not part of the selection. And in fact, you think, or what you're probably thinking is, all those wires are gone that are part of the boat. You know what? They're gone on my finished edit as well. See those lines? Or you don't see those lines because they're all gone. I did a really rough job of cutting this out. Well, it's not that rough. It's not bad. But I did the same process, just the magic wand, crop, and painting with the mask and the brush tool. And then I just made it as well as I could. And because it's blurry in the background, you can't even tell. You can't even tell. So after all that, probably after a couple hours of work, you have these 4 images ready to go to create your parallax effect. Now we're going to put the Elementor section together with all these images. And if you don't want to do this, or you want a perfect example to poke around in, you can actually get this section fully completed through my website. There's a link in the description down below. And that link will take you to this page. It's going to have the video that you're currently watching embedded on here, so you can continue watching right on this page. You can also purchase the section right here. Just fill in your details, and you can purchase the section for whatever price you want over $3.99. And if you want to add another Elementor section from a different video, just click this box right here. That'll be added to your cart. That's the play video on scroll Elementor section. And there's of course a video for that as well. And those will both then appear inside of your account on my website. And you can just click on download, and you can download them and then upload them into your Elementor website. It's as simple as that. Now let's get back to the video where I show you how to build the section, do-it-yourself style if you want to do it that way. So we're going to create a new page so we can walk through exactly how we do this. Let's go to Pages, Add New, Edit with Elementor. I'm going to change to the canvas layout so we get the full screen, the full effect. I'm going to add a section that's a flex box with a spacer. This is going to be the section that's down below the main section. Now I'm going to add the hero section. Let's just call this container up here spacer. We'll call this one hero and move it up. Here's our hero section. And we want this section to be full height and full width no matter what size the screen is. So to do that, we're going to go to the options for this container by clicking on those 6 dots, go to minimum height, change to VH, and make it 100. Which is the percentage, which is 100% of the viewport height. As I scroll, you can see the spacer section comes in. So we got 100%, but we also want the edges to go right to the edge. So currently there's some padding. So we'll go to advanced and make the padding 0. That dotted line is now right the same as the pink line, so it's right to the edge. Head back to layout and make the content full width. And now we're ready to go. This container is as big as it can get on the screen. Now I'm going to add the image widget. Throw it in there. I'm going to choose my image. I'm going to make it the sky. Let's go from top to bottom. There's our sky. Excellent. Let's add the other image widgets right now. I'm going to make this one the ocean. And then let's add another one. And we'll make this one the table. And then our last one is the boat, and the sailboat, this guy right here. All right, there's our images. How's it look? Let's publish this and take a gander. It's not exactly the same as this one here, but it will be in a few minutes. Just you watch. Let's go back into the editor. I'm going to label these images. So this first one is sky, so we know which ones we're working with. The second one, ocean. Third one, table. Fourth one, boat. Let's start with the sky. Click on the sky image widget. Go to style. Change the width to be VW. Make it 100. Now it stretches all the way across. When we scroll, it stays where it is. We'll deal with that in a little bit. For the ocean, let's make this 100 VW as well. You kind of do the same process for every image. So now we have our ocean there. The table, same thing, because we want it to go all the way across the screen at all times. We do not want to change it to VH of 100 like we did for the container itself, because then these things would be super tall. So you got to have the width viewport size and the height viewport size applied to different things. And then this guy, we're not going to make him 100% width or anything. We will mess with the width. We'll do that in a minute. Let's just make the environment first. Currently we scroll, everything stays as it is. Let's fix that. Let's go to advanced, go down to position, change this to absolute. You saw the ocean now disappeared behind the sky. That's okay. We'll fix that in a little bit. We want to add motion effects. If you don't have Elementor Pro, you won't have motion effects. If you want to have motion effects, you need Elementor Pro. So if you want to get Elementor Pro, there's a link in the description down below. It is an affiliate link. So if you click through that and purchase, I'll get a credit for that, but it does not make it more expensive for you. But it helps me keep making these videos on YouTube for free. So if you need Elementor Pro, please consider upgrading through that link. I really appreciate it. We're going to add scrolling effects, and we're going to add a horizontal scroll so that the image goes side to side. So as we scroll, you can see it moving already as I scroll down. But I want it to go to the right. There we go. And the speed at which it goes can vary. In fact, 40, it's off the screen right from the start. The faster you set it for speed, the farther out of the screen it is. 0, it starts on the left. There's other little hacks you can do that to change that. So keep it at 4. We'll keep the viewport where it is. We're going to change the scale to scale up, and we'll keep that at 4 as well. And now you can see when we added the scale option, it filled the entire container. As we scroll down, I want to make sure there's no, as the sky is disappearing, there's no edges appearing. That looks pretty good. You want to test this on the front end as well when you're ready to do so. So that's our sky. I think that's done. We can also add a little blur as we're doing to most of this setup. We'll do that later though. I'll show you why you have to blur. Maybe you don't have to. If you cut these out perfectly, you don't have to blur. But I wasn't that perfect. Okay, so next we're going to work on the ocean, which is currently behind the sky. And we are going to want to have this set to the bottom of the screen. We always want it stuck down there, whereas the sky is stuck to the top. If you recall, by choosing position absolute and then a vertical orientation, we have it top for the sky. We want it bottom for the ocean. But this is a huge gap between those two. So we want to actually increase the size of the ocean by going to Style. I'm going to choose VH here and stretch it up to be the appropriate size. The further you stretch, the more pixelated it gets, as you can tell. So you could stretch the ocean up a bit, you could stretch the sky down a bit. If we go to the sky, since it's on the top, if we stretch that one down, it's not so bad, right? If you find they're overlapping funny, you got to play with the z-index. If you go to advanced, again, you can set a higher z-index to the thing you want on top. So the sky one we want the sky on top. Let's set that to a 2 z-index. The ocean is less than that. It's currently not set, so it's assumed to be 0. You can set this to 1 if you want, just to make it explicit, or not. It's up to you. Still looks like a pretty sharp edge for the horizon, but we'll get over it. The table is next. It's currently gone. Can't see it anywhere. That's because it's behind everything else. So we set the z-index to something higher than 2. The sky was 2, so let's set it to 3. Now it's right there. We want to set the position to absolute. We want to move it to the bottom. And now this is kind of coming together. Got our table there, got our ocean there, the clouds are moving, that's great. We want the table to scale a little as we scroll. Go to motion effects, turn those on, go to scale, and scale up 4, just choose the default options, and looks pretty good to me. And that's with the defaults of speed of 4, viewport 20%, bottom 20% top. It's going to start scaling when the table is at the bottom 20% of the viewport, which it currently starts there. So it's going to start scaling immediately. And that's going to keep on scaling until it's in the top 80%. So you see it keep growing, 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 growing. And it looks like it's stopped now. So it's not growing anymore. And there you have it. Moving clouds, scaling table. Where's the boat? You guessed it. Z-index. Let's make that a 4. There's our boat. Let's shrink this guy. Let's make him like that big. Position. Absolute. Offset. You gotta put him where you want him. Let's make him a little bigger. All right, there we go. Let's make it so he has the sail above the horizon. And now it looks a little goofy because it's so sharp and nothing else is. So let's go to style and then blur it. CSS filters, blur. If you add too much blur, it disappears. It's not a good boat with too much blur. So you got to make it just the right amount of blur where it looks like it could be that blurry that far away. I'm going to go with something like that. And you know what? I'm still not happy with the sharp edge on the ocean. So I'm going to move the ocean on top of the sky because we blurred the ocean image, but it's a crisp line there because that's the sky image. Let's just mess around with the Z index for the sky, put it down to 1. There, now it's a little blurrier in the distance. Now it looks way better. Nice. All right. Boat. Got to move it up a little bit now. Want it above the horizon. There's a lot of micro adjustments involved in getting things in the right spot and just how you want them. For this guy, I'm going to add another motion effect, or a scrolling effect, I should say. It's going to be a horizontal scroll. Now he's moving to the left. That's great. And you want to have him keep on moving while we're on the screen, and he does. Yeah, still moving right to the very end. That's pretty cool. The reason I started him off in the middle is because we want to make sure that this all works on mobile, how we want it to. So if we switch over to a tablet view, we see still on the screen, the sailboat, and that all looks tickety-boo. Oh, you see the sky up here? The sky moved out of the way. So we want to adjust the sky to not disappear. So the way you fixed it the first time was by using the scale property. Let's make that a little bit faster on the scaling for tablet. Now it's gone. Oh, you can still see a little bit there. Can we do a 5.5? We can. All right, there we go. 5.5. Now the sky is perfect on tablet. Everything else seems to work just right. If we go to the phone, we see the boat's gone, and we see we got to adjust the sky again. So let's go to the sky. Same idea. Let's put up to 6 this time. What to 7? Go to 6. No, let's go to 7. 7 was the right answer. As we scroll, we want to make sure it's not disappearing like that. So we're up to 10 for the scale and still disappearing. So let's try something else. Let's put this back down to better level, and let's do the horizontal scroll. Let's change the speed of this to be 2. Yeah, 2 will work. So it's not scrolling as quickly, but you're also not showing white where the image is disappearing. And our boat is not here. Where's our boat? It's off screen more than likely. So let's select the boat container, horizontal offset. Let's get it back on the screen. There it is. Why is it growing and shrinking like that? I don't want the boat to be scaling. Horizontal scroll shouldn't be scaling. Looks like it's not. Looks like that's just an effect of adjusting the offset. So I think that's not bad. Could put him back further and then adjust the height to make him bigger again, so he's the right size. And then under motion effects, horizontal scroll, we can adjust these if we need to, but if we're scrolling here, that's looking pretty good. I feel like the table is kind of disappearing in the effects. So we're going to make the table a little bigger on mobile. Let's give it a viewport height of some amount that you're happy with. Chances are you're not going to replicate this exact image on a site you're working on. You might replicate it just to practice, but you have to make these adjustments as you want, as fits whatever you're working on. I think we're pretty solid here. Let's save that. There's our boat. Let's refresh. Our boat's way off to the left. That's okay. It's to do with the mobile compatibility. But I think it looks pretty cool. We've got the clouds moving, got a boat moving, We've got the table here moving. We can add text overlay. Let's add a heading. Throw that in there. Let's move it to the top. And let's change the z-index to 5 so it's on front. And let's give this a title, Vacation with Us. Let's style it to be white in color, and Poppins is a pretty popular font. I'm going to center that. We're going to have it be sticky on the top of the screen. Sticky top. Let's make it bigger so it stands out a little more. Let's give it an offset so it's not sticky right to the top, but rather a little below the top. That's pretty good. Now if we scroll down, super duper, there it comes. It looks like it's disappearing because it's white on white, but it's actually not disappeared right now. If I change this to a gray, you'll see it scrolls all the way through the whole thing and then doesn't go away. To fix that, we're going to have it, well, there's two ways we can fix this. Really depends on what kind of project you're working on. But if we change this back to a white color, we can go to advanced. We can go to motion effects. When we turned on the sticky, we got the option to stay in column. If we turn that on and we scroll, it's going to stay at the bottom of the column. Maybe that's what you want. That might be perfect for what you need. Or other option is we have the bottom section of the website scroll over top. So to do that, we click on this bottom section. In fact, let's add a section with some content. And let's get rid of our spacer section. Now we have some content down below coming in. I think it looks pretty solid where vacation stops there. But your project might not call for that. So if you wanted a different method to hide the vacation, so maybe you have it not stop in the column and it keeps scrolling down, but you want it to disappear, we do that by changing the z-index of the next section, or of just any section having it higher than the title is. So if we go to layout under advanced for the heading, we see it has a z-index of 5. Go to the next section, which is the CTA section, give it a z-index of 6. Now watch what happens. We scroll down, vacation disappears behind that section. Let's publish this. Refresh out here. And I think that is pretty solid. Some solid work there. And as we saw, these animations and motion effects work on mobile, they work on tablet. You might have to make some adjustments depending on what mobile devices you want to focus on, because it's not perfect, but the effects all work on mobile, which is great.